conducted on audit. I welcome today's speaker, CA Mohan Lavi, to occupy the dais. Please raise for photos now.
सुप्तेषु जागृति येष सुप्तेषु जागृति कामं 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 पुरुषो निर्विमाणः तदेव शुक्रं तद्ब्रह्मा meaning economic principles are and ethical considerations dharma, which are central to the work of accountants. The entire world is deliberating about impact of climate change coupled with disruptions of artificial intelligence. India has given philosophy of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam to the world and successfully hosted G20 summit on this theme and also launched Global Biofuels Alliance. The accounting profession also has an enormous responsibility to guide the work, where accountability meets innovation so that vision can be converted into solution. The Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, being the world's largest accounting body after the successful hosting of WCOA 2022 and GLOPAC, proudly presents before the World Forum of Accountants 2025. Where accountability meets innovation for a sustainable planet. The world's brightest minds will exchange insights, explore emerging trends, and unlock the possibilities for the profession, where foundation will be laid to shape the vision for the future of accounting profession. Hosted at Yashobhoomi, the largest convention and exhibition center in the heart of India's capital, New Delhi, inaugurated by the Honorable Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi, is all set to host the congregation of accountants from around the world. And while you're here, experience the vibrant culture and heritage of New Delhi, a city where history meets modernity, offering unforgettable memories.
World Forum of Accountants, an experience of 3 days, insightful discussion, groundbreaking innovations, and unparalleled networking opportunities.
With immense pride, we invite you to WOFA 2025, taking place, happening from January 31st to February 2nd, 2025 at the magnificent Yashobhoomi, New Delhi. Experience 3 days of insightful discussions, groundbreaking innovations, and unparalleled networking opportunities. World Forum of Accountants 2025 is where you need to be, where accountability meets innovation, AI for a sustainable planet. Join us at WOFA 2025 from January 31st to February 2nd, 2025 at Yashobhoomi, New Delhi. For more details, visit wofa.icai.org.
SIRC ICA, very happy to introduce today's speaker, CA Mohan Lavi, qualified chartered accountant in 1989. He has over 27 years of experience in industry across a variety of industries, having worked in senior positions in finance, in manufacturing and software companies. Mohan has over 80 years of experience in practice. At present, he is a partner with Ms. KP Rao and Co. Chartered Accountants, Bangalore, and heads a financial reporting, Ind AS, AS and ESG practices of the firm. Mohan is the author of the books on IFRS, Ind AS, key audit matters, and the Sarbanes-Oxley Act. His articles appear frequently in the Hindu Businessman, Deccan Herald, and the Bombay Chartered Accountant Journal. He is also a regular speaker at various forums on financial reporting. With this short introduction, SIRC ICA welcome today's speaker for accepting our speaker for this knowledge sharing session. SIRC ICA like to request CA Aditya to present the member to the speaker. To the speaker.
Okay, good afternoon. I hope audible. Okay, so let me first thank SIRC for calling me here. One day after Christmas holiday, auditing standards, 200 registrations. That's what they told me. First of all, number one mudile. So I think that it is either because of CPE, or because of NFRA, or because of Palm Grove Hotel. I don't know which is, you can choose whichever it is. I don't think many people would have come here for standards of audit at least. I mean, let me be honest, I have to say that at least. But however, it's good that you all are here because this is a topic which has gained a lot of importance over the last 3 or 4 years. Is gaining more importance. Little bit of battles are being fought on the same topic. We are in for extremely interesting times in terms of standards of audit. The topic was NFRA and standards of audit, but NFRA by themselves cannot issue standards of audit, they can only recommend standards of audit. But I will try to take you all through what has happened, why this is a topic which has suddenly risen in prominence over the last few years, as I've said, what is probably going to happen in the future. I'll also look at some things which I think we as auditors will probably have to take care of going forward. It doesn't matter how big or how small the audit is, whether you're a statutory auditor, branch auditor, whatever it may be. I think a certain level of what we can call as hygiene or documentation routines is something we definitely have to follow, because we have to accept the fact that 2024 is not what it was in 2014. Many things have changed. Many things have changed. Everybody seems to be looking upon us with a certain degree of, you can fill in the blanks, whatever you want. The term is definitely not good. I remember this 2009, when Satyam happened. The day when Satyam happened, I was in Hyderabad. We were going for a branch session to Nellore. Some session to Nellore. We were going by train. And we were 4 chartered accountants in the train. A couple of other passengers were there. Those passengers knew that we were chartered accountants. So the first question one lady asked us was, what happened in Satyam? She was very curious to know what happened in Satyam. And at 2009, we told her, madam, it's a one-off case, it will not happen, don't worry, it's just one-off case. It's okay, we as chartered accountants are not responsible. It doesn't matter. So she was also seemingly happy with that response. Today you see what is happening. Suppose something of that sort happens. The first question they ask is who's the auditor? They are not going to ask what is the company. The first question they will ask is who's the auditor. So that is how things have changed so drastically. The environment in which we are is slightly, what you can say, dominated by regulators looking for somebody to put the blame on, and it so happens that unfortunately or fortunately we are there in this thing. Now, the first thing we should look at is 143.9, which says that auditing standards can be issued only by the government, only by the Ministry of Corporate Affairs. The central government only can prescribe the auditing standards. Recommendations can come from either ICAI or from NFRA. The NFRA was previously called as National Committee of Accounting Standards. Not exactly the same designation, same rules and all, but they said that National Committee of Accounting Standards can prescribe auditing and accounting standards. So whatever auditing standards are there, and whatever auditing standards will come in the future also, every one of this will go through the central government. We can only give a recommendation. Institute or NFRA can only give a recommendation. They have also said that till the auditing standards are notified, whatever institute has given can be taken as auditing standards. So they have almost told us that whatever auditing standards institute has notified will be the auditing standards. Now what NFRA has done, I'll come to that a little bit later on. But I want to draw your attention to the fact that if you look at, don't worry about the individual standards, I'm not going to take out through them. Sometimes you really have to give credit to the institute. You think of a transaction, there is an auditing standard available. You think of any transaction, related party transactions, going concern, fraud reporting, material misstatement, documentation, materiality. Whatever are your normal audit procedures, for every one of those audit procedures, there is an auditing standard. Now whether we follow it or not is a different issue altogether. But this 46 auditing standards given by the ICAI, one, has stood the test of time. It has stood the test of time because it has been amended, a few standards have been amended. But if you look at the series of these things, I'm not going to take you through these individual things here, just to tell you what are the important standards. You name it, you have a standard. Now the question arises, if this much has been done by the ICAI, why should somebody else come and try to overrule the ICAI or try to say that we'll issue our own accounting standards and all those things? That question is open for debate, but we will definitely answer that question by the end of today's session, definitely. So if you look at reporting, for example, you take for example audit evidence, you take for example external confirmation, analytical procedures. For every one of these audit related areas, we have got one auditing standard. So I think you all should first take comfort in that fact. If you look at the reporting standards, audit conclusions reporting, look at the 700 series. Qualifications in auditor's report, disclaimer of audit report, key audit matters, other matter, every single thing is there. Every single thing is there in terms of auditing standards. What has to be done? What do you report as emphasis of matter? How it cannot be repeated as a key audit matter? So I think we have to accept the fact that even if NFRA does issue auditing standards, as they have done now, they've given these standards are given to the MCA for approval. You will get something called as Companies Auditing Standards Rules 2025. That is going to come very soon. Companies Auditing Standards Rules 2025. which will be nothing but these standards. Maybe font is different, maybe color is different, but the core of the standard will remain the same. That will not change. I'm sure that will not change definitely. Okay, now the topic was supposed to be NFRA and audit standards. I think the first question we have to answer is, why did NFRA come into being? It is there, all that they are doing so many things, all that is fine. In fact, the more broader question would be that, was it necessary? Was it necessary? Of course, there were some issues which happened at a particular point of time, and many people felt that the institute's DC mechanism was not working properly, and they felt that a regulator is required for the chartered accountants over and above what the self-regulatory mechanism of the institute is there. All of these things came up. In effect, we have NFRA, we have sort of mimicked what is called as Public Company Accounting Oversight Board in the US. Public Company Accounting Oversight Board, called as PCAOB, was established in the US as a reaction to Enron. And as all of you all will probably know, Enron has done a lot of things. We have learned a lot of things from Enron. Rotation of auditors, whistleblower policy, every single thing is because of consolidation being made mandatory. That also is because of Enron. So that was a reaction to Enron. We had our own companies, like we had some issues in Punjab National Bank, we had ILFS and all those issues. So government said that enough is enough. We will establish a regulator who will oversee the work done by auditors. Please remember that this is specifically meant only for the auditors. They also have the power, apart from the audit fraternity as such, they also have the power to look into financial reporting done by companies and all those things. But as we know, practically what has happened, they've actually looked at work done by the audit firms over the last 7 years of their existence. They've done so many things there. Now, they are there. They are going to be there. We cannot help it. I should remember this, somewhere in 2018, 2019, I think, when they were just establishing, NFRA was just being established, they wanted to do a training session on India's accounting standards. So one of the people who was previously in the institute, he has joined NFRA, so he called me and said, can you come and do one session on revenue or something else? So I happened to be in Coimbatore at that time, and one of the past presidents of the institute, he also was in Coimbatore. At that time, I say NFRA were like, we're not very sure whether you should go or not. I don't know whether it will become professional, who's going to even go there and talk. So I thought the best thing will be to ask the president. So I managed to catch out of him and told him, sir, this is what is happening. They have asked me to come for a session on 115. They're doing a series of sessions. One session on 115. Can I go? He said, definitely. It's an honor to privilege, you should go. Definitely go and speak in NFL. It's definitely an honor, he said. But don't give too much of information. Now, and he said, go, it would have been okay. The moment he said, do not give too much of information, I was wondering, what do I go and do that now? Because it will be like 50-50. Not giving the complete information, whatever revenue given, whatever the standard was. I went there and did it. Of course, they have been doing a lot of these sessions even later on also. But then, I think two reasons why NFRA did come into play, and I think this is also something which is going to hold true in the future also. You look at ILFS, you look at whatever we are seeing now, Cafe Coffee Day, look at Divan Housing. I think somewhere everybody has felt that nobody has worried about how much of money the shareholders have lost. That discussion has never happened. The shareholders in these companies have lost such a lot of money that people are just sort of saying, okay, it happened, it has happened. Yes, people have lost money, but it almost seemed to be suggesting that, I'm not saying it is okay, but nobody has actually sort of gone into the actual reason why these frauds have happened, who is responsible for these frauds. Again, I'm not saying that it's the auditor who's going to be involved here. That's completely not my point at all. But NFRA said that let us at least try to regulate the people who are saying that the financial statements are. I will not say true and fair. I will say reasonable assurance. It's a very nice word. Reasonable assurance. Reasonable assurance means what? Whatever you think is reasonable. I am not going to say true and fair. I am not going to say true and correct. But I am going to say reasonable assurance that these financial statements are okay. So obviously, what the government also was thinking was that in case there is something which is extremely wrong, it will be called. In case there is something which is extremely wrong or something which is extremely, what you can say, not as per accounting standards or whatever it may be, that will be called out by the auditor. So let us try to regulate the audit. This is what I believe was one of the reasons why they set it up. But then, we also have to look inwards and see this. You look at ILFS, again, whatever I'm doing is a post-mortem. Post-mortem is very easy to do. Post-mortem is the easiest thing to do. That's why NFRA's job is so easy. Because they're doing only a post-mortem. If I ask Adi to tell me, find out 5 mistakes in the audit file today, you'll find out 5 mistakes in the audit file. Very simple. It's very clear. He'll tell me why is this document not in the audit file. We have to accept that as a fact. But I myself did a little bit of work into look at, a little bit of analysis into ILFS thing and see that how is it that such a big thing, very big firm of auditors, reputed firm of auditors, nowhere audit report, nothing, no key audit matter, nothing is there. Certainly seemed a little bit odd. You'll be surprised. The total, since ILFS was not a listed company, we don't have data of all their subsidiaries. Even that was disputed, how many subsidiaries they've got. Somebody said 230, somebody said 240, somebody said 270. Doesn't matter. But here's the thing, what happened. 70% of the losses, 70% of the losses of the ILFS holding company were only from 4 companies. All the remaining 250 companies are just companies for the purpose of being companies, that's all. 70% of the losses were from only 4 companies. One company called as Gujarat Pipa Port, one project in Tirupur, one in Nasik and one in West Bengal. These are the 4 companies which actually contribute to the losses. You will be surprised to know. Gujarat Pipa Port, local firm of auditors. Local firm of auditors means invariably name has to be Patel only. It doesn't matter what Patel it is, some Patel. You would not, this is really surprising. In his audit report, he has qualified going concern. Gujarat Pipa Port, in his audit report, he has qualified going concern. Consolidation auditor did not consolidate the audit report, he only consolidated the financials. Had he consolidated the audit report, maybe the losses were so material that he could have probably qualified the holding company. I'm not saying ILFS could have been solved, but at least the problem would have been known earlier. Today you have a point in Karo. Have you looked at the qualifications done by the subsidiary company auditors? That point has come in only because of ILFS and Gujarat Pipa Port, not because of any other company. They are saying that if he has qualified, if the qualification is material, you also will have to qualify. So that is where I think NFRA came in and said that, how is it that these people are not putting this in their audit reports? Is there something we have to do? Obviously you have the auditing standards, obviously you have the accounting standards, you've got everything there. But is there something which we have to do as a part of regulation for the purpose of that? So I think that that was the broad idea behind which NFRA came. Now of course, we had our FRRB, we had our QRB, we had our disciplinary proceedings of the institute, we had our DC cases also. One of the complaints, shall I say, about the DC of the institute was that it takes a lot of time for these cases to get resolved. A lot of time for these cases to get resolved because it takes years and years. You keep calling for the hearing and then, you know, I should remember this. I think again one more Patel only, I think, if I'm not wrong, or may not be a Patel. 1970, if I'm not wrong. 1969, 1970, definitely. He wrote a book, How to Convert Black Money to White. It's true, it's there in DC cases. Don't think I'm making this up. It's there in the DC cases. He wrote a book, How to Convert Black Money to White, based in Gujarat, obviously. How many people bought the book? Obviously, a lot of people bought the book. 1975 Gujarati version also came, no Tamil version. Gujarati version came in 1975-76. 1978, somebody informed the institute and said that, you know what is happening in Gujarat? Chartered accountant in practice is writing a book, How to Convert Black Money to White. Is it not professional misconduct? Institute said, yeah, definitely, yes. So immediately they sent a notice to Mr. Patel, or whatever his name is. I don't think his name is Patel, but I'll use the exact name. Code of Ethics, Volume 3, it is there. You can see it. His name is there. He got a notice from the institute. He was so busy writing the book and converting also. So he said, no, institute, no, doesn't matter. Or we'll see later on, no problem. 3, 4, 5, or maybe 3, 4 notices were issued. Nothing happened. He did not go. Institute also did not apply. In 2002, please remember when the book was written? 2002. There was an extremely dynamic Central Council member who joined. Now all of you must have voted in elections. All dynamic people will join now. First way they do a lot of work. He said that I am going to call everybody and finish all these DC cases within 1 year. All the 400 cases pending, send notice to everybody. Tell them if they do not come, I am going to do this case expired. Which means I will pass any order I deem fit if you do not come. So he sent notice to all 400 chartered accountants across the country saying that please come to Delhi for a hearing. If you do not come, I will pass it suo motu expiry. Mr. Patel got the notice. He said, "Acha, very good. Now I go. Now it's time to go to Delhi." Because then they pass some order, means again problem. No. So he went to Delhi. He went to the DC committee, and committee told him that, are these facts true that you've written a book? True. Gujarati version? Is it not professional misconduct? 100%. He only is agreeing. Institute said, okay, now that you have accepted all the facts, we will have to pass disciplinary order against you. Mr. Patel said, sir, whatever you pass, I'll accept it. Institute said, we'll ban you from practice for 6 months. As per the Rule 3, I'll ban you from practice for 6 months. Mr. Patel said, sir, see, I'm now 75 years old. I've stopped practice automatically. I've stopped writing the book also. So even if you ban me permanently, I have no problem. He actually said this. He said, no, we have got rules. We can't go beyond Rule 3. So they passed an order banning him from practice for 6 months. So he said, thank you, sir. He was walking out. Institute person said, just 1 minute, sir. One last question. Do you have a copy of the book? I don't know why they asked it. I don't know why they asked it. In fact, you will be surprised, till 4 years back, this book was available on Google Books. Till 4 years back, somebody took it down later on. I think somebody told the institute and took it down. This was available on Google Books. Please don't ask me for a copy because I don't have it. Even if I have it, I don't have it. So the complaint was that 32 years to solve a disability case, which is probably of a very, very high this thing. Of course, subsequently things have improved a lot, I'm not saying no, but all this was the back of the government, saying that okay, they're taking their own time about it, they're not disciplining them, chartered account is enough. So let us form this NFRA. And the entire thing was, they can do what is called as financial reviews, they can give audit quality reports, they can give circulars, consultants, all this is basically from their website. Most importantly, they had the power to inspect our working papers. And that is something which, for all of us, is top secret. You don't want to share our working papers, because you don't know what is inside. I'm just saying. So what happened, all of a sudden we had a regulator who's prepared to come and say that, please give me your audit file, I will see what and all is wrong is there. And let me tell again, let me repeat this to all of you all, saying that even today, I know Aditya for the last 7 years from RG Enterprise. If I give him an audit file and tell him, Aditya, please find mistakes, how many will find? He will find at least 10 mistakes. Minimum 10 mistakes. Because it's not that the mistake has been done purposely. It's not that it's been done purposely. He will say that paragraph 4.2 of SA 230, why have you not followed? I have to go and see what that paragraph is. I don't know what the paragraph is. I am just done documentation as per my requirement. So what is happening now is that these regulators, be it the PCOP or be it NFRA, are coming in and saying that you should do these things. You are not followed individual paragraph numbers of auditing standards. And this is where I think we as a profession need to be a little bit more careful. Because I'm not saying it is going to come to you all. I'm not saying NFRA is going to come to your audit or your client or whatever it may be. But I think generally speaking, we need to just sort of improve a little bit on these things. I'll speak a little bit about that also as we go along this particular presentation. So now what they did was, they said, okay, let me take the top cases. ILFS they took up. Diamond Housing they took up. Now one important thing which NFRA did was, they said, okay, I'm the regulator. Listed companies, there are so many auditors. There are so many auditors of listed companies, there are 4,000 companies in the BSE. Not everybody will be having a large audit firm. There could be some small audit firms also. How do I know something has gone wrong? That was the challenge before NFRA. Who will tell me something has gone wrong? Okay, in the case of DLFS, we know, DHFL, we know public, it came in the public domain. ILFS came in public. Suppose it is not in public domain. So very smartly what they did, NFRA sent out a letter to SEBI, ROC, Income Tax Department, and told them that in your visibility, if you see something wrong, please send it to us. If you see any violations of any auditing standards, accounting standards, penalties being given, anything of that sort, if you have any such information, don't take the trouble of investigating, you send it to us, we'll do all the hard. If it is in public domain, like Diamond Housing, NFRA takes it up suo motu. All the remaining cases has been either reference from ROC or from the SEBI. Only one from Income Tax Department. Only one from Income Tax Department has gone. Income Tax Department, of course, we don't have to worry too much about because they don't really look at it from the point of view of auditing standards as such. So this is what they have been authorized to do. They have also not done too much of work on the company part of it. Even if we technically say that, okay, you know what, their job is only to find out these big ticket items, please remember that whatever ILFS, Diwan Housing Auditor, all those things, you should not forget one fact. There's one person, other side also. The company also is involved in this. It's not only the auditor. That unfortunately has been an area wherein NFRA has not really sort of stepped up the gas, so to speak. They only looked at the profession as such. They are now going to go and tackle or talk to the audit committees, is what I heard from what I know about them. They're going to talk to the audit committees and tell them that you are also responsible. You have to follow certain principles there. You along with the auditor should ensure that auditing standards, accounting standards, whatever it is, has been followed to the maximum extent possible in your particular company. So I believe this effort is being made by them. Hopefully, they will come out with this very fast. What have they done? 79 orders till now. Don't worry about 79 orders. 29 of this is only from Diwan Housing. 9 are Cafe Coffee Day. 38 gone there only. 3 of ILFS. So 50% of their orders have been on 3 companies. All the rest have been individual companies wherein they found something wrong, like we recently had this of Z Telefilms also, that also came up recently. So their work has till now only been majorly on 3 companies. A few reported by SEBI, few reported by ROC. Again, those have been companies which there have been some sort of a, what you can possibly say, negative reports coming from audit committee or public domain or whatever it is, and they have issued these 79 orders there. Audit quality reports, they have done 6, they've given some circulars, consultation papers, inspections, reports and publications and all those things. Again, not much of activity there. 2019, they came out with a suggestion that companies with a net worth below 250 crores, there is no need for audit at all. They came out with a circular. It's not a circular, but it was a consultation paper. Companies with a net worth below 250 crores, no need for audit at all. If the company wants to get an audit done for bank purpose or whatever purpose, let them get it done, no problem. But as per Companies Act, they say it is not there in US, it's not there in Europe, it is not there in Singapore, it's not there in Sri Lanka. Why only in India? Thankfully, what happened? A lot of people started objecting to this and said that again, NFRA's point came from a very different perspective. They said that the audit fees in these companies is so low that it does not justify having an audit done. They did a survey. So Professor Narayan Saman did this thing. He only did this job. He said that whatever be the size of the company, minimum audit fee should be 1.5 lakhs. Minimum audit fee should be 1.5 lakhs. Anything over and above that, you take it, no problem. Smallest company, share capital 1 lakh. Minimum, because there are so many things we have to follow. There are so many things we have to follow as auditors. But then I think they also observed that this is an area wherein probably not much enforcement can happen. For the simple reason that the client will always say that I'll go to a person who does not charge so much. It's as simple as that. Right? So I think NFRA sort of realized that and did not force their way into this audit below 250 crores. And also, recently I also had a discussion with them. I asked him, sir, are you going to bring it back? He said, no, I'm not going to bring it back. So thankfully, I think we have the comfort that audit will continue for at least for the present time. But sometimes what can happen, as I said, when you look at a fault-finding mission, it becomes a little bit problematic. It's not NFRA, but NFRA's US equivalent, which is your Public Company Accounting Oversight Board. So companies whose holding company is the US have got subsidiaries in India. Their auditors will also have to register with the PCAOB in the US. for the purpose of whatever registration, all those things, and the PCOB can come and inspect your audit files just like how NFRA have done. If NFRA is 80% inspection, PCOB is 200% inspection. Because US, as all of you all will know, it is an economy which is extremely rule-based. If there is a rule, you will have to follow it. If you do not follow it, you will be penalized. There is no exception here, there is no if and but there. That's why US GAAP had so many gaps. So what happened, there was one company in Pune it was a fintech company, holding company US, subsidiary company Pune, local firm of auditors. 2021, if I'm not wrong, 2021 or something else. Total transactions in that company, 3 transactions of sales, 2 transactions of purchases, 12 months of salaries, paid to 10 employees. This is what the company is. 3 transactions of sales, 2 transactions of purchases, 12 months salaries for 10 employees. This is the audit. Holding company, Big 4 auditor, PCOB registered. PCOB people came to Pune for inspection. You are the auditor of this company. What will you have in your audit file? What will you have in your audit file? If I am the auditor, I will have 3 copies of those 3 invoices. 3 copies of those 2 purchase invoices. Original copies of all bank statements. Maybe photocopy also. Payroll register for 12 months. And have it in one file. This is exactly what this firm did. They gave the PCOB and told them that, sir, this is the audit file. This is okay. We'll go through it and come back to you with any questions you've got. Next day morning, they came and asked the partner, where is your document, wherein you have documented what risks are there in the audit? Partner said, sir, small company, 3 purchases, 2 sales, or whatever, it's vice versa. That's all. The entire file is there in front of you. No. What risks have you identified in the audit? You please tell me what risks you have identified in this audit. Now the partner thought for a moment, he wanted to say there is no risk at all. Because this is what the company is. There is no risk at all. Everything is there in front of you. But then he said, no, I will not specifically look at the document. Okay. Next question. Where is your audit planning document? Correct. That's what the reaction should be. Where is your audit planning document? No invoice. This is good planning. So this partner was wondering now what to do. He said, sir, what we have done is run 100% audit. 100% watching, 100% casting, everything 100%. So sampling also 100%. Obviously 100% because transactions are few. I said no. You have not identified what is the risk in this audit and you don't have a proper audit plan. So please improve your audit plan for the next year's audit. Now, obviously, this firm was wondering, okay, what do we do for this now? So it so happened that the PCOB people were there and the partner was not to be, so he called me up and said, what do I do for these people here? I told him, take them out for dinner and ask him, slowly tell him that, can you suggest some audit plan for this audit? You only give me some ideas, I'll build accordingly. Just ask him, let's see what he comes up with. And I told him, I'm sure he will not respond. But at least ask him. So he went to come out for dinner, forward my suggestion, asked his partner, asked his PCOB person, saying, sir, I know that this is okay, we'll improve our documentation. So what audit plan should I have for this? That man gave us 5-minute speech. Audit plan is according to the nature of audit, risk of audit, knowledge. He never told what the audit plan is. So he understood that, okay, this man is only talking from a point of view of, a theoretical point of view, not trying to give any practical suggestions to him. So I told him that, accept the recommendation and tell him that, if at all you come next time, we will definitely try to improve our audit, documentation, whatever it is. But then his question to me was that, I mean the local firm, this Pune-based firm, said, sir, if I can't start doing all these things, what is the time I'm going to spend on this? I'm going to spend so much of time for nothing. And what is the benefit I am going to get? If I go and tell the client that PCOP has come, please make more audit fees, that's your problem, not mine. You have to face the problem, not me. So sometimes they can get into an overkill approach also. So I think we need to be a little bit careful. So this is a challenge which I thought I'll give all of you all. Maybe, you can do this, think about this. 31st March 24, all of you must have finished all your audits. Sure? Obviously dates are over now, so you should have finished it. I have a suggestion for all of you. Take any one client's audit file. Any one client's audit file. Doesn't matter, big, small, medium, doesn't matter what it is. Look at the audit file and try to make out one small one-page document. What were the main observations of the audit and how it has been disposed of. It may be too late now, I understand, but try to do it. This is one document which I am insisting that all the CA firms across the country, whether big, small, doesn't matter, tax audit, whatever it may be, please maintain this one document. Trust me, that document is going to be your savior. If you can find out 5 items, you call it whatever you want. Some people call it as memo, some call it as audit planning, or closure document, they call it different things. Doesn't matter what you call it. Just try to do this. It doesn't matter if it is not there. It may not be there also. But it will prep you for the next year, in which you may tell the article clerk or whoever is doing the audit saying that at the conclusion of this audit, please make this one-page note. It does not have to be 20 pages long. You don't have to repeat essay 230. This one document will help you to sort of know whatever other people are asking you. What are the risks in audit? How have you covered the risk? What have you done? All those things will come in that. My suggestion is, please try doing it. Even if it is not there, build up something so that at least it is there on record. At least there. I think you have to do it because the times have come now. Whether we like it or not, we are in a situation today wherein we have to defend our audit. We have no choice, whether we like it or not. Verify the spelling of invoices. Whatever it is. Whatever, sir. No, we did this exercise in our office. I told my article clerks that unemployment is there. So I told them that take one audit file. We have some set documentation procedures. So we've got a software, we use all this documentation. So I said, not article clerk who did the audit. Audit clerk who was not involved in the audit. I said, see if all the documentation is there. Whatever is not there, we will build it up. No problem. Then, see, we have a big problem, this engagement letter. Whether you should do it every year, every 6 months, every quarter, we always have a problem. So all that was there. One particular file, very interesting situation happened. She came running to me and said, sir, there's a problem here. What happened? I said, in the file there are 9 trial balances. We don't know which is the final trial balance. I said, really? 9 trial balances? She said, yes sir, 9 trial balances. I said, okay. Ask the partner who's signing what is the final trial. He also doesn't know. And they came up with this brilliant idea that let us ask the client. Ultimately his accounts, no sir. That one trial balance, he'll have final trial balance. But then I knew that this could probably come up for a peer review, so I said, okay, let me call the client myself. So I called him and told him that there seems to be a problem here. We have 9 trial balances. We don't know which is the final trial balance. Can you send me the final trial balance? Our clients also are heroes, I tell you. He says, sir, I'll send it to you, sir. But once, just check the figures, sir. Just once you check the figures, maybe it is not matching. It was not matching also. So now we don't know which is the final trial balance. Sir? We can. But what I'm saying is it's not there on record. Ultimately, we have to get it done and keep one final trial balance which is there for the purpose of this thing. Okay, now, don't worry about this. Don't worry about the dates. Here is same. The right hand side last column is what is most important. These are all the auditing. Concise list of?
Is it practicable for anyone maintaining the kind of documentation? Even the institute has come out with a set of standard checklists for small entities.
Correct.
The institute is not able to give it. Why? Is it practical?
His question is, why is the institute not giving a docket which says that this is what you have to follow? Checklist type of thing, ready-made checklist.
It has a checklist, sir. We have a checklist. So for small enterprises, they are given it. Is it practicable to do it? The right question you ask me. You ask, that's DCO doing.
DCO, yeah.
So that's right thing. Like, see here also we are talking so many things there. So for a kind information, most the peer reviewers, they cannot understand the questions which are there in our checklist. In our whatever question.
We are checklist.
Yeah.
So, I'll get to that. Yeah. Definitely, his question is they should do something. What they will do, we'll have to see.
No, see, actually, they are trying to save, they have done everything, that's what they are trying to do. So they want to say, we have done everything relating to the profession. So we see for everything and anything, they have a standard guidance note, everything is there. Even for this, whatever individuals, they said, no, you have to have a Schedule 3.
Schedule 3.
Is it practicable?
No, that I completely. It's not practical.
So they give technical guidance. So many people are employed. Actually, this one has so many chartered accountants that they want to employ them and they just want to give them good salary. I don't understand, This is something, is it practicable? Why you should yourself not give a software where some basic data is entered, all these outputs are coming. So the exception is given.
Point taken, sir. Point taken. Unfortunately, I can't
but
answer.
It is not, you cannot answer, sir. Nobody can answer it.
But I can't answer.
I don't see, it is totally impracticable. Like, these questions, whatever there in the peer review, most of them, many people can understand. Most of people
cannot understand the question. Yes.
Unless the questions are
correct.
No, previous question, but a top-down approach. What top-down approach? What is top-down approach? It's absolutely, it's something totally different lacking to most of the people. At least they have some implementation guide for it. For exclusive one, the implementation guide is they say 2, 3, 4, 5 and all will come. I do not know when it will come and what type of ghost it is going to be.
Hopefully it will not come soon. But I get your point. I think they can. See, the point today is that you let us, say your name. So Vaidyanathan's question, I showed you the number of standards. What is 46 standards. Private limited company in Chennai, 20 lakhs paid up share capital. Some turnover, profit is there, balance sheet is there. How many standards actually apply there? How many of those 46 will actually apply there? If you ask me, from what I know, at least about 15 will definitely apply. 15 will definitely apply. The remaining may not probably apply. So his question is that, see, now we have a checklist. We will say in the checklist, SA 560, not applicable. You will say not applicable. But I think what you need to know is that if you say not applicable, you also say why it is not applicable. Your checklist is complete, you can say not applicable. But you should also say why it is not applicable. Caro reporting, not applicable. Not because you don't want to do the Caro, because the threshold has not been met. IFC reporting, not applicable. Tell why it is not applicable. Whether software can solve it, definitely I think yes, software can solve it. But unfortunately, sir, I'll tell you why this is, if I can even attempt to answer your question. I think Institute has now come to a situation wherein they are saying it's better to be safe than sorry. It's better to be safe than sorry. We will give you whatever material you want. It is up to you to follow it.
Creating a lot of chaos.
It will obviously create a lot of chaos, right? So I think, so if you look at this here also, is what NFRA has done. Look at the auditing standards not followed here, 210, 310, whatever it may be. 230, 700, everything is not followed.
Even for Big Four, they are not able to comply with it. You also.
They cannot comply with it, obviously they cannot.
They are going to have a person like you or person like me, sir. They are not going to get God. They are going to get the Saraswati Devi to do that.
No, I think at least to a certain extent, I think some of that software may take care of this thing and they may have something, but I mean, they may not have, it's not 100%. Obviously, if it's 100%, NFRA don't want to promote these reports, sir. That also is a fact, right? So I think that will definitely help, but as I said, from our side, anything not applicable, please justify why it is not applicable. Just put a small note there, that diligence we have to do. Anyway, now coming to the main problem here and the topic for today's discussion. This became a big talking point. This was basically about audit of Cafe Coffee Day. And 19th of August 2024 is the date when NFRA suddenly became extremely agitated with the entire auditing profession. That date. I mean, not on that date, the date of the order was 19th. What happened here, just to give you a quick background, was Cafe Coffee Day, as all of you know, Bangalore based, lot of diversion of funds. They are saying something to the tune of about 7,000 crores or 8,000 crores is diverted, came back to Cafe Coffee Day, went into real estate. All those charges have been proven subsequently in courts also. There was basically one company called as MACEL, Bangalore something, right? Amalgamated something company. But a lot of these transactions have happened. This company was audited not by a large firm of auditors, but by some local firm of auditors based in Bangalore. And a lot of transactions happened there, wherein money was going from Cafe Coffee Day, coming back to Cafe Coffee Day, or whatever group companies, whatever it is. When the investigation was done by NFRA, they asked the holding company auditor, consolidation auditor, they asked him saying that so much of diversion of funds has happened, nothing in your audit report. Please remember, NFRA did not say, did you find out this? NFRA is still not saying that you have to find the fraud. But they are saying that there is nothing in your audit report, you stayed quiet, so much of shareholder loss has happened, whatever, how could you stay quiet? The response given by the holding company auditor is what irritated NFRA a lot. The holding company auditor said, sir, we did not do the audit. Don't ask me. It was done by subsidiary company auditor. He is responsible. We have relied on his report. In fact, if you look at my audit report, we also mentioned there, sir, saying that we have relied on the report of so-and-so auditor or on the subsidiary company auditor. So this is not our responsibility. Don't ask me. If you want to ask a question, ask it to the... Now the concept of holding company auditor and component auditor comes in. Holding company is the big four or the consolidation auditor, and the component auditor is the local firm. NFRA said, I will not accept your statement. Agreed, you have relied on the work of that auditor. But when something so large is there, you have an SA 600, you can go and ask them questions. Why have you not asked those procedures? Why have you not done those procedures? Why did you not ask them where the 7,000 crores went? Or whatever additional documentation, whatever it is. Even for that, the response was that we felt it is not warranted in the circumstances, therefore we have not asked for this, but we will not go beyond this. You ask the subsidiary company. Don't hold us responsible for something we have not done. NFRA said, okay. They passed this order, penalized the audit firm, and then decided that Please remember, till now, till 19th of August, NFRA did not speak a word about auditing standards apart from mentioning the reports. 19th of August, NFRA said that enough is enough. Now we will do one thing. We will revise the SA 600 on our own to ensure that the holding company auditor is also held responsible. Please remember, primary responsibility, secondary responsibility is always there. But we will ensure that the holding company auditor cannot get away by saying that I have not done the audit, don't ask me any question. 19th of August is when this order was passed. Within 15 days, they came out with a draft of a revised SA 600. And that is what has created so much of a controversy here, because the revised SA 600 proposed by NFRA is just as per the international SA 600. ISA 600, just the same thing, not no changes at all. Wherein what has happened is that they have put more responsibility on the holding company auditor and said that you can take on the role of NFRA also, you can look at working papers if you want. Any judgments made by the auditor, you can question his judgments, you can discuss with him, you can ask him why this has not happened. So they also said that by giving this revised SA 600, don't worry about the component auditor. He is there, he is doing the audit, he is responsible, there is no doubt about it. But at a broader level, in case there are some things which are not reported, definitely the holding company auditor cannot escape by saying that, don't ask me any question. So this standard, which is the revised standard which they have done, or what is called as the, this is what has happened here, using the work of another auditor is already there. So I'm just going to take you to the main things. I will not talk about the other things here. Now, obviously, what happened here, when you had an SA 600 which was already running, here also you could ask him those questions. Here also you could ask him those questions. You did not ask him those questions. Sir? Material transaction is there. They have not done this. So NFRA said that, okay, I'll put more pressure on you now. I'll give the international standard now, in which you are also not going to, the wording generally used is that, you please look at this sentence here. Please remember, this is not revised. This is a present SA 600. They are saying that the principal auditor should consider the professional competence of the other auditor. Existing standard itself it is there. If the principal auditor feels that the competent auditor has not got professional competence, whatever that may mean, right? He is capable of saying that he can choose to say that he is not professionally competent, right? Okay, but anyway, I'll just look at. So here, look at the tasks here. They have said that requiring special consideration, significant findings. He should also perform procedures to obtain sufficient auditor evidence that the work of other auditor is here, and there should be a coordination between liaison between the auditors. I can tell you all this thing from experience because we are the branch auditors for many companies, wherein many of the big four are the statutory auditors, and we have this, every quarter we have this dialogue. So you get one email saying that, please fill up this information docket. It will have variance analysis. It will have a questionnaire. We have to answer yes or no. September figures, March figures, variance analysis. Any major variation, say beyond 20%, we are supposed to give a reason why that variation took place. This has been happening for the last 5 years. Every single year, every single quarter, we have sent it to them. We've had no issues with them till now, apart from a couple of cases where they had to ask some specific questions. They've asked for those questions. So the existing SA 600 itself has built up this coordination in the ISA. Now what is happening there? I'll tell you what happened in this particular case, in one company which we are the auditors of. There was an investment in an energy company, 240 crores. Past 4 years, investment has been made, no impairment was done. From 2021 onwards, we started forcing for an impairment check. We told them we have to do impairment test. With great difficulty, management said that 50 crores will do impairment. Because we are trying to sell this to somebody in Dubai or somewhere, we are getting into an agreement something, 50 crores will do impairment. So I spoke to the holding company auditors and told them that this is what they are doing. 50 crores they are doing impairment. At that time, of course, he did not ask me anything. He said, okay, if you feel it's okay, it's fine, no problem. I told him there's no basis for this. There's no basis, there's only ad hoc provision, that's all. If you ask me for working, I don't have a working. He said, no problem. He said. So, one of the investors in the holding company was Rakesh Jhunjhunwala. And he had come for the audit committee meeting much prior to his passing away, of course. And he said, what is your investment in this company? He said, 240 crores. Okay, how much, what is the picture of your place? No operations. And the CFO and the audit partner immediately said that, sir, we made a provision for 50 crores for impairment. Imagine, Rakesh Jhunjhunwala sitting in the audit committee or board meeting. He says, 50 crores. What is the basis? You don't have a basis, it's just ad hoc basis. You just done something for the purpose of ensuring some provision. So he said that, how much of money are you going to get back from this? We don't know. Guess what he said? He said, either make a 240 crore provision or don't make any provision. This 50 crores will not fly, he said. If you are sure of getting the money by selling it to somebody else, make a provision for 200, make no provision. But if you are not sure, make the entire thing. And then they said, no sir, our profits. He said, don't worry about profits. That will be impacted, it will have to be impacted. Then they said, we are not sure in this quarter, that's why we made 50 crores. He said, you'll never be sure in any quarter. Because it's there for the last 4 years. You'll never be sure in any quarter. So he suggested that. And imagine for a person like him, he told the audit committee that, why are you so worried about it? Impairment losses can always be reversed, no? He knew that. So what they did was, they made into it 120 crores, 120 crores. They made two, provisions for this 120 crores, and it was finally impaired, totally impaired. But just to tell you why I told you this is because when I told him 50 crores, he said okay. He also didn't question my 50 crores. So the point is that even now it is happening. The problem is that after this revised chart comes, it's probably going to go a little bit more. Okay. Okay. Now, so this is what we have done. I told you questionnaire what will come here. Quality control firm by planning the audit, execution wrap up of the audit, all those documentation questions you have to fill up. Typically what the questionnaire is there. Okay. Now you look at this, and this I am just showing to all of you all as a matter of information. And I am going to ask you all a question after this. You all can think and answer. Sorry, not this. This is from the NFRA report on Cafe Coffee Day, in which NFRA have said that in that subsidiary company, MSCEL, these are the transactions which have happened on one particular day. They put the date also, 4th of March or April 2019. Receipt has come, payment has come, receipt has come, payment has come. 65.5 crores is valid, opening balance and closing balance almost the same. One day. NFRA asked the holding company auditor, one day, all these transactions have happened. It is not even there in their audit file. You forget about passing judgment about evergreening of loans and all those things. This document itself is not there in your audit file. We are not the auditors, sir. Please ask subsidiary company auditor.
Therefrom, did NFRA pick up this?
So they got the inspection reports. They call for the information. Now the question I'm going to ask all of you all, and it's a slightly embarrassing question to ask, but still I'll go ahead and ask it. Will you all keep this in your audit file? I think the answer is no. Right? The answer is no. Because in the normal run of banking transactions, when you have got 450 transactions per year, how are you going to pick out this one thing and say it's evergreening of loans? Whether any short-term funds have been used for long-term purposes. How do you respond to that? According to the information has not been used today. Actually, working capital could have been used to buy a laptop also. It is nothing but that only. Correct? That's okay. Don't worry about that. But here, I deferred to the NFRA and told them that this is forensic audit. This is not statutory audit. You can't expect me to have this on my file. Bank statement, if I have got on my file, yes, don't have it on my file, that's a different issue. That's a problem. I agree. But you are picking and choosing documents and saying that.
Oh, you are doing ITGC. They are exception cancellation with the no. Ledger cancellation outlay, sir.
I don't know. I don't have to talk about it.
It should be definitely outlay.
It could have been there. I don't know.
It should be definitely outlay.
So, I mean, what he says is true, that it should have come up somewhere. Right? It does not come up. Please think of this. When NFRA is trying to find faults and they find this, they are going to say not done your work properly.
Is NPA loans applicable,
Sir?
NPA loans applicable this?
NPA norms. The NPA then.
Oh.
NPA then. So the NPA, proper NPA case. I think Canara Bank.
No. See, for this company, holding company, is it financial transaction where no NPA?
Yeah. Thank you. So anyway, the question I want to ask you, it is not, this is forensic. Now, let's go a little bit further and say that, had you all got a suspicion, it would have been there in the file. Correct? Normal course of audit and auditing, no, it will not be there. Had you all got even the least bit of suspicion, 100% should be there in your file. Go holding company, doesn't matter what it is. So in fact, when I discussed with the NFRA people, I told them that you are getting into forensics. His response was very clear. He said, Mohan, you're not understanding. This was in the public domain, not the bank transaction. The fraud which happened, the NPA and all this was in the public domain. He said the holding company auditor just brushed away by saying that this is not my job at all. So that's why we're having a problem. We're not having a problem with the fact that this is not there in the file. But had he probably sought little bit more information, these things could have, I think that is where they're also trying to come from. But again, let me also re-emphasize this fact. All these things are big ticket items. They are large items wherein many things have happened, public domain, people know about these things, so there is no way anybody can escape from this particular thing, because that is, as I said, these are all big ticket items. In the normal course of audit, as he said, he got out a very good word called as outlier transactions. Exception reporting basically. Nothing but exception reporting. Anything which is unusual can be something we have to look into. We need to look into it. This is what I think NFRA is trying to say now. Don't become forensic auditors, but if there is anything which is extremely outlier, as he said, either ways, don't ignore it. Please look into it and try to ask the necessary questions. This is what they're trying to say. Now, when the statutory auditor of the holding company said that, I don't know what this is, go and ask the local firm. The local firm was already penalized. The local firm was already penalized by NFRA. NFRA have already done that. They have already been penalized, all that has happened. I am coming to you now because you are the holding company auditor. You have not done your job. So it's not about the local firm at all. Okay. August 19th, September 17th, NFRA on their website published a revised SA 600 saying that this standard will be applicable now for all audit of group financial statements, including the work of common auditors. The heading of the standard itself was different. SA 600 was relying on the work of other auditors. Here it is called as Audit of Group Financial Statements, which means that they force the word audit into the standard itself, saying that you will have to do an audit itself of the standard. NFRA also, what they did was, okay, we'll issue a standard. Enna pannalam? ISA 600, they did ISA 600, copied that entire standard and came out with these beautiful words. Proactive risk-based approach, strengthened communication, greater focus on professional skepticism, and improved scalability. Understand anything? But no, it doesn't matter. This is what they tried to say. But here, what they have done is, as I said, ISA 600, they've gone a little bit more deeper, more lengthier standard, 74 pages. 55 main paragraph of the standard, only about 59 paragraphs are there. Application guidance is 182. So what is going to happen now, if you are the component auditor and you have a holding company auditor who is following the standard, he is going to give 182 pages of documentation. The documentation is going to increase. It will be more documentation, but principally what they are saying is that clarifies roles and responsibilities to ensure alignment and flow of information, and there should be obviously increased communication here. This part becomes very important. They are saying that clarity of instructions should be very, very clear. There should be mutual understanding of relevant issues, mutual understanding of work to be performed, and probably what is very, very different from SA 600 is that they are asking the group or the component auditor to give an action taken report or ATR, saying that I have told you these things, what have you done? This was not there in SA 600. Now they are going to say that, okay, have you tested for impairment? Will be a question. You will say that yes, we have tested for impairment, we have asked this question, value is this much, fair value is this much. So what is going to happen is that definitely the questionnaire which the holding company auditor is going to give you all is going to increase both in length as well as in content. Number of questions are going to increase. You will have to respond by saying that I am building up my documentation also in this particular manner, and whatever are the significant areas in that audit. So I think we need to come to a conclusion here saying that, I mean, you can correct me if I am wrong, but in most of the audits wherein we have got a holding company auditor, I think we know what the issues are at a very broad level. Of course, new issues may come during the course of an audit, we don't say no, but at a very broad level, I think we know what the issues are. What these people are saying now is that, instead of just saying that, okay, we'll do it in a routine manner, enhanced communication means he will ask you a detailed questionnaire. Your response to that questionnaire should be like an action taken report. Should be like an ATR. You should say, yes, I have gone and verified this particular thing. This is what happened. Physical verification of inventory was done on this date. This is what we found. Audit procedures are going to become a little bit more detailed, even for limited reviews. Even for limited reviews. We cannot wait for the year end now. In fact, I mean, just to tell you about this, what has happened is that all these audit firms have become so sensitized to this entire thing of NFRA that this company I told you about, the group auditor one day called me and said that, I think this was end of the month, I think. And see, normally what happens is we give documentation to them in about 4 or 5 days and the audit is over. We don't wait for too long, but 5 weeks, 5 days, 1 week. So he called up one day and said, Mohan, I don't know what you're doing. Today we have to close all documentation. I don't know how is it possible, not possible in 1 day. He said, no, whatever you do, I don't know. You give me the documentation today. I don't know, it's not going to be possible. Obviously, I can't give documentation 1 day for this, whatever 5-6 companies you're doing there. But I asked him, why are you suddenly insisting on this? He said, no, we have given an undertaking that NFRA that will close the audit on the same day the audit committee is over. They have told NFRA that they'll close audit documentation same day when the audit committee meeting is held. It's practically impossible. So I told him, okay, from next time when think about this sort of people insist on. So this will obviously mean more work. Question more work means same fees. I would think that, and I'm sticking my neck out here, but still I feel that don't have to specifically refer to SA 600, ISA 600. I think we need to sensitize the clients also, saying that risk reward ratio in audit is actually increasing a lot towards risk and not towards reward. The risk reward ratio in any audit is increasing so much that the risk is higher, the reward is extremely low. I think we need to all sort of sensitize the clients to the extent possible. I'm not saying that they'll do it immediately, but to the extent possible, saying that there has to be, with so much of work being done, there has to be some sort of a... There are two problems here, which I will tell you all honestly. I mean, it's only my view. The first problem here is that when we look at this fees, the question of audit fees, ultimately, I mean, the recommended scale of fees there of the institute, nobody follows it. We cannot follow those. Maybe exception can follow 1 or 2 cases. Doesn't work there. There are 2 things which we have to understand very clearly. One is that for all of us, for small, medium firms, slightly large firms, the biggest threat, is what in an audit, as per the code of ethics, threat of familiarity. The entire code of ethics, 3 volumes, don't worry about it. Just one threat you look at. Threat of familiarity. We think we know the client very well. Client thinks he knows the auditor very well. This is the biggest threat. Because of this threat of familiarity, what is going to happen? We are not going to stick our neck out and say, boss, ISA 600 is there, can you increase my audit fees, risk reward ratio? Second, and probably more important, we also need to understand the fact that as long as the client is paying our audit fees, there is no other way in which this can be done. We only have to depend upon the client for audit fees. The moment we depend upon him completely for our audit fees, it becomes a question of negotiation. It does not become a risk reward ratio, it becomes a question of negotiation. There is no other way in which this can be solved. But anyway, I think what the message I want to send to all of you all is that gradually, may not be immediately, gradually try to tell them that risk reward ratio. You know what, many people, even Aditya was telling me this sometime back, if it is really not worth it, why do it? If it's really not worth it, why do you want to do it? Do GST filing, no. The GST filing also does not pay much, but anyway, something else you can do. Many people are now coming out of audit saying that this is not going to work out. This is going to be terribly, counterintuitive for me. It doesn't work out at all at any level for me. So I think that also something we have to take, right? Look at the second part. Group auditor takes overall responsibility for managing audit quality. Competent auditor, don't worry at all. Just follow what he has to do, that's all, what he has to say. We had a talk with the group audit recently also. The fact remains that what is going to change is, as I told you all, documentation is going to become more intense. And it is not only the quantity of documentation, but also the quality.
They are going to ask you specific questions, they will expect specific answers. Time spent on audits is going to increase. You will have to spend more time on audits, even if it's a limited review or an annual review, whatever it may be. The time spent on audits is definitely going to increase, because if you are the component auditor or you are the holding company auditor, whatever it may be, you will have to spend more time on the audit. Audit time spent is equal to audit cost. You need to have resources for this. You need to build up documentation for this. It is going to be an effort by itself, right? Professional skepticism throughout the audit. Critical mindset throughout the audit. We are also moving towards forensic only now. Using the words going, we are also moving towards forensic only. What does professional skepticism mean? I don't have to tell you all of you all know that very, very well. But I think the idea is very clear, saying that don't take any transaction at face value. If you feel that something has to be done, further investigate it, please further investigate it. I'll give you a small example which happened in a case which we had spoken about recently also. There was a situation wherein the revenue as per e-way bill is more than revenue as per financial Ind AS. Revenue as per e-way bill is more than revenue as per financial records. So it was not something which was material initially, but somebody just mentioned this to me. Some friend of mine was doing the audit. Suddenly he said that, Mohan, this thing is there. How can revenue as per e-way will be more than revenue as per financial books? Sir?
Interbank transfers will be there.
Interbranch transfer, that also will be part of revenue books also, no? Not consolidation, standalone. Standalone. So first he said this, I also took it, I said, okay, maybe, I don't know, I didn't take it so seriously. Next quarter he said it is even more. What does professional skepticism mean? The moment you know this, it is repeating, transaction is large in value, start asking the questions. So I asked him, okay, you go and ask the company CFO, why is this there? See, GST is such a beautiful law, whatever answer you give, nobody will understand. He gave some response, he said he will return something he said. Asked him to prepare a reconciliation statement. Asked him to give the reconciliation statement. This guy was scared because, see now what has happened because of NFRA is that everybody have started worrying about, will NFRA come to me? Reconciliation statement he sent it to me about 2 months back. Wrong value entered in e-way bill, 24 crores. I told him, boss, there's something wrong here. 2 crores, 20 lakhs, I understand. 25, or I may get the figures wrong, maybe 2.4 crores, whatever it is. I said, why would somebody do 2.4 crores wrong value in e-way bill? Then he became scared. He said, what should I do? I asked for reconciliation with the previous quarter. He got reconciliation with the previous quarter. Then what had happened? Same thing. Wrong value entered in e-way bill. So then I told him, I think this requires a little bit of investigation because somebody seems to be feeding wrong values in e-way bill purposely, which cannot be the case. So I said, please ask for a detailed report. Ultimately, it turned out that what the company was doing was, they were booking one sale through an e-way bill, which was when the goods were actually not being dispatched. They were booking one more sale and the goods were actually being dispatched. The whole thing was not being reversed. The whole e-way bill was not reversed, which they had to do. Turned out to be a significant thing here. About 20-25 crores, whatever it may be the value. But again, see, these are all individual cases we are saying wherein when he sort of got that doubt, immediately he said, okay, let me find out, let me see what is happening here. So that's what has happened here for the purpose of trying to, do what is important here. Okay. Here is where we had a small debate about the institute also saying that what he's trying to say here is that what work he should do, I will tell. Is he competent? I will assess. How he should do the work, I will tell. If I find him not competent, I will give some other person whom I know the audit. Everybody felt that this paragraph or this example given in the standard is going to make all the big four firms say that don't appoint RGN as auditor, we have our own firm. Appoint them as auditor. Not proven true to a large extent, but still there's a small element of truth in this also. There's a small element of truth in this also, because please understand that whichever firm it is, doesn't matter, small, big four, small four, medium four, whatever it may be. End of the day, what is important is, sir? Money purse. If the audit is significant, if the audit fees are significant, if the risk is minimal, there is no reason why they can use this paragraph and say that, please put, Aditya is a good person, don't worry about him, but he'll do other audits, but for this audit, please give some other person the audit. Now here, I think that it works both ways. It works both ways, because if the audit fees is not significant, there is no reason why they will even ask us to do it. But here I think that the audit committee has got a very important role. And I think it is our job, whenever we are sensitizing this risk, or whenever this risk is there, I think it is our job to go on to the audit committee that whatever they want in terms of documentation, we will do. There is no reason why we cannot do same quality, same quantity, whatever you want as per the requirements. There is no specific reason why you would want to replace us. If there is, you please tell us. We'll try to improve that particular area. So I think for this threat which is there, what is very, very important for us to understand is that go and speak to the audit committee and tell them that we are equally competent. If not more competent, we're equally competent. Don't change just because this is there. Yes, if you want us to improve in certain areas, look at additional areas, all of this stuff, definitely we will do it. But don't ask us to change only for the purpose of changing. Okay. Sorry. Just go back here. Now, when this revised ISA 600 came, people started saying, okay, NFRA cannot issue auditing standards, only government can issue. Correct, we agree with that. Some people said, already ISA 600 is there, why do you want to change it? Correct, it's already there. It's not been revised, that's all. But NFRA, as I told, they were extremely worried with the response given by this firm. So they said that we will do one thing. ISA 600 may take some time to come because it has to do government and all those things, it will take some time to come. What we will do is, we will give a circular saying that this is applicable even for the present SA 600. So what they have done is, they have given a circular on 3rd of October 2024 saying that when the principal auditor uses the work of an auditor, he should determine how the work of auditor will affect the audit. So in one simple sentence, what they have done is, they have put the responsibility upon the principal auditor also, saying that please look at what he is doing, please report what he is doing. In case there are any concerns, you may have to bring it out, you may have to flag out those concerns. So this circular has created a problem now, because one is, you forget for a moment ISA 600. SA 600 itself, they are trying to look at it and try and say that you should look at the work of the auditor. So I think in the December quarter, it will already be there. In the sense that they will start using this SA 600 itself, or they will, under the guise of SA 600, use ISA 600. They'll start using the new standard under the guise of using this whole thing, right? Then there was a discussion, what does should mean, may or shall? Okay, that doesn't matter. Should means you have to do it. Doesn't matter whether it's may or should, you have to do. That's what they're trying to say here in terms of this video. Right now, look at SA 600. No specific, what you can say, guidance, shall I say, was given on sharing of work papers. But now they are saying that if it is required, you may have to share your work papers also. There's a workaround to this, which we have found out. My suggestion is that you please ask them only. Can you give me one sample working paper from one area of audit? We will repeat the same for many areas of audit. Whatever documentation you want, whatever documentation, whatever working papers you want. So now sharing of working papers has also become very, very important. And I think all of us, I think this is something which I'm sure that all of you all will agree with me. If you are, okay, let me put this as a question. In your firm, who is doing the audit? Or who is doing the main audit work? Articles. They are the people who are best qualified to actually put the working papers also. They should do it. It is their job. Because if I get a detailed working paper, which is, let us say, whatever, Big Four, Standard or whatever, international, whatever it may be, we will not have that practice in our firm, we may have it in a limited way. So this has to be done at the time of audit, not later. This cannot be done later. Has to be done at the time of audit only. It may take 2 or 3 iterations, it may take 2 or 3 cycles, but still I think that the sharing of work papers becomes very important because, see, now as I told you, if somebody is coming on a fault finding mission, they can find out any fault they want. But I think all of us, need to take a lot of comfort in the fact that we are Indians. And when we are Indians, what happens? We will find a solution for every problem. I'm not telling this in the right way, but this actually happened. Again, Public Company Accounting Oversight Board in the US. It's happened in US. They were inspecting an American firm for audit quality. And after Satyam has happened, one thing all of us are very clear on is bank confirmation. Multiple confirmation of same bank we will take. Balance may differ, but we will take it. We will keep it anyway. So this firm, they had taken, confirmation of balance from a bank. But please remember, what is the job of PCAOB? To find a fault. They said that bank confirmation has been taken, no doubt, very good, good audit procedure. But covering letter to bank is not there. How do I know you sent the covering letter to the bank? I told you, US, rule-based economy. Rule means rule, covering letter means covering letter has to be there. Partner of the accounting firm in US became very tense. He said, what is this? I'm going to get a negative report. There's one Indian chartered accountant working in that firm, CPE, from India. Sir, what is the problem, sir? He said, oh yeah, PCOB is saying this thing, yeah, they've got this thing, observation is coming now. Bank confirmation is there, but covering letter is not there. That's all. No. One covering letter. Now, which date you want? And also he asked. Then he said, how can you do it? He said, don't worry about all those things. You tell me which date you want. I'll get everything done, don't worry about it. You'll not believe. He got that old date covering letter from the firm to the bank, went to the post office, put one seal also, just to make it look absolutely perfect, and put a little bit of mud that ought to keep it, make it look as though it is old. And after 3-4 days, he came and told the partner that, sir, Palanga, take your confirmation of covering letter. Partner asked him, where did you get it? I didn't get it, I made it, he said. Oh, okay, very good. Shall I call PCOB? No, don't call them right now. Indian mind, no. Take some time. Tell them we are searching for it. After 15 days, you call them. After 15 days, he called up PCF and told them, sir, Vanga, let me recover and return. He saw 1 minute, he said, brilliant. Where was it? Some other audit phase, couldn't place it. Misplaced. Very good. No, clean report given. So sometimes we have to use our Indian mind also for the purpose of audit documentation. Sometimes we may have to do it also, right? But these work papers, as I said, little bit, we may have to improve on in terms of, what has to be done. Okay. ICA has already been saying this, that it is very complex and all those things, and smaller firms will lose their work and all those things. But I have a different view on this. And, again, I leave it to you all to decide. But in my opinion, I think, especially over the last 5-6 years, in fact, the reverse has happened. Many clients are actually preferring small and medium firms. They are preferring small and medium firms unless they are mandated to go to a big four because of some holding company pressures. Or some holding company is having some statutory authority, we have to do this and all those things. There are two reasons for this. One is they say that they know the local landscape much better than the foreign firms. That is one. And second is that the comfort factor is always there. Even for a moment, if you keep aside the cost as an issue also, the comfort factor is there. I can always speak to the local chartered accountant. Sometimes may not be possible in a larger firm. So I think this concern of the local firms losing their work because of SA 600 may not be completely true, as long as of course it comes to the rider, we are able to prove our competence. And I can give you all innumerable examples wherein we have found that the work done by local firms is probably better, if not equal to work done by the other large firms. Okay, maybe our documentation has to be improving. Maybe we'll have to do a little bit more documentation. But apart from that, in terms of audit procedures per se, there have been so many examples wherein local firms have proved to be probably, I won't say, I can't use the word called better auditors, but nothing wrong in giving the local firms the work. So I think to a large extent, this fear of losing out on this audit is unfounded to a large extent. Now what is going to happen, just to give you all a little bit of comfort in this, which is that I told you about those audits below 250 crores net worth. I think that to a large extent, listed companies, large companies will still be with NFRA. 500 crores of borrowings, 500 crores of net worth or 1,000 crores of turnover will be with the NFRA only. But what happens to those other companies for which comprise a major part of our clientele? I think many of these firms would still be with us only. They may not go into the NFRA network or radar unless something specifically wrong has happened and it has cropped up and been reported to NFRA. Chances are very, very minimal because I think size also matters in this particular case. Having said that, of course, I need to also tell you that now that we have got so many reports in the public domain, everyone knows what SA 230 is, everyone knows what audit risk is, everyone knows what audit documentation is now. There's a lot of information flowing out there, courtesy of all these orders. I will not be surprised if the QRB and the FRRB also take a similar approach and want us to maintain this minimum documentation. They may want us to maintain this because even at a lower level, smaller audit, medium MSME audits also, as sir was saying, maybe it may not be as detailed as what we have for the remaining auditing standards. There is no chance of auditing standards being reduced for MSME, that is definite. The discussion has already happened, it's not going to happen. So the number of audit standards, 46 is not going to reduce. That discussion is over, that's not going to happen. It's going to remain 46 if not more. But whether we can sort of, within those standards itself, right, within those standards itself, whether we can do something to improve our compliance with those standards is a question which definitely I think we have to worry about, right? Okay. What is going to happen now? Definitely SA 600 will be revised. It's only a question of time. As I said, you get companies auditing standards rules 2025. We as the competent auditors will need to mimic the processes and documentation of the principal auditor. In the sense that we will have to tell them that you tell me what you are doing, I will do what the same thing here. Judgments, audit procedures, all of it will be yours only. But to a large extent, the audit procedures per se, documentation in particular, will definitely be as per what they are doing, and we will probably maintain that documentation for the purpose of. See, Enna, why is this important? Sir? Yeah, they'll give it to you in a different format. Now that they're responsible, they definitely have to give it also. They have to give it also. Previously they used to say, I can't give proprietary. Now they can't do it. They definitely have to. Also, I think the point we have to also understand from our own point of view of, look at it from a general risk point of view also, right? Very, very difficult statement to make. A risk point of view. Why is this documentation important? See, the idea behind documentation is very, very simple. That's what SA 230 says. A person who is not involved in the audit should be able to know what audit procedure was done and how it was done, and what conclusions were reached. You know that? Person who is not involved in the audit should know what audit procedures, which means that you should have audit plan, audit program, checklist, compliance checklist, running those checklists, documentation, independence requirement, everything. And trust me, this is a one-time job. Once your firm develops a manual for documentation, it's only going to be specific to that audit. You don't have to repeat the entire thing for every audit. It doesn't, I mean, it will follow, what I'm trying to say is it will already follow in place. You don't have to keep on doing this again and again. It's only a question of one thing. So I'll also answer his question thus way, saying that take your one firm's audit, develop this documentation, that is your compliance. You don't have to worry about too much about, non-compliance auditing channels on this, because that will be your compliance. The idea is very, very clear. As I said, what audit procedures were performed, who performed them, and probably most important, I will repeat for the purpose of repeating, what were your conclusions in that audit? It doesn't matter if there was no conclusion also. You can say that I have tested revenue, sampling has been done, no major things were found. I have tested inventory, physical verification, sample has been done, no major variations were found. I think this, what is being expected of us now is that our audit file should start speaking and saying this is what is not being done now. We'll probably have to detail a little bit more in detail. I always tell this about documentation, though not audit documentation, but still you can probably take this as an example. I was sitting with a partner of a Big Four firm in Hyderabad, sometime back, long time back. And I was just talking to him about some general things. One of his clients came in. I'm talking about 2006, 2007, 18 years back. One of his clients came in and said that, I want a partnership deed of 1993. 2006 this was. The client comes in and says that, I want a partnership deed of 1993. How long will it take to give it in your firm? You may not be there also, but we will normally say that we will look at it, we'll get back to you, give us a couple of days' time, we will tell you. If it's there, I'll call you, you can come and pick it up, no problem. His partner, what he did was, he called a particular person and said that his client wants a partnership deed, can you get it for him? In 5 minutes, the document was given. Exactly 5 minutes. 7 plus 13 years back partnership deed was given in exactly 5 minutes. I was obviously very, very impressed. I asked him, sir, how do you do this? How do you get this level of documentation? Wherein, I mean, you give it 13 years back, did it in 5 minutes time, how do you do it? So he showed me a small, I think it should probably be a program, which is there on his laptop, wherein he has said that very clearly they have written there, which documentation, where it can be found. Which documentation, where it can be found. And there are some physical documents also which are in the warehouse. Location also is there. That level of detail they have gone for documentation. We did not do that because for us, part of it we can ask them for additional fees, that's why. But I am saying that this is the level to which people have gone for documentation, wherein you are able to pick up a document in exactly 5 minutes time. That is what we should probably try to drive it. If not there, at least a little bit towards that. Okay. Finally, I think I'm finishing a bit early also, doesn't matter, but we'll take a few questions if required. You are the competent auditor, what you should do? Already told you, assess the risk-reward ratio first. Risk is more, reward is less. What should you do? If possible, quit. I will not say quit. If possible, if you can afford to quit, quit the audit. Really, I mean, I know there are some companies, you not believe it, we are still the auditor of that company. What we call as land bank companies. 1 lakh share capital, investment in land, that's all over. P&L account only ROC filing fees. That's it. Oh, audit fees also. Audit fees is 7,500 rupees. Private limited company. I have to follow all the 46 audit standards. But audit fees is 7,500 rupees. So I told the CFO of that company once, I told him that, sir, these audits are really not worth our effort. Please give it to somebody else. We really don't want it. His calculation is different. He says, Mohan, you're saying 7,500 rupees. I will do 10 companies, total fees 75,000 rupees. I don't know, it still doesn't work out to my favor. It's still 75,000 rupees, but still the basis remains 7,500 rupees. I think we need to accept the fact that, and as I told you, what has happened now is that lot of the sensitization has happened. Smaller firms are calling up and saying that, sir, should I do this audit or not? Is it worth it? If you feel that the risk-reward ratio is not in your favor, and if you have got an alternative, please remember that is very, very important. Thankfully, you can say no to the audit. But in case you can't say no to the audit, for whatever reason, because sometimes they'll say, I've known you for 46 years now, 30 years you're my client, you can't do this to me, all this is, he'll put all sentimental dialogues and all those things. If you can't do that, there are only two things you can do. Communicate and document. That's all you can do. Even if you are not the, even if you are only the statutory auditors and do not have any holding company auditor, subsidiary company auditor relationship, even if you are the standalone auditor, please communicate and please document. This is the minimum we can do, because as I told you at the beginning of my lecture here, the times have changed. When the times change, we also need to adapt to the times. Whether ChatGPT can help you, I do not know all those things. But I feel that whenever, that's why I said, the threat of familiarity. The threat of familiarity always says that I know the client very, very well, so he's going to help me out in this situation whenever I require it. I don't think that will be true to a very large extent, because it depends on the situation, of course. It depends on the client also, obviously. But not necessarily true in all the cases. So if you are able to do this, I think that to a large extent, see, NFRA has a body, and these auditing standards have a set of principles, shall I say, more than rules. They have more a set of principles. They will be there. They're not going to go anywhere. Recently in Bangalore also we had this seminar about this. Just like today's seminar here. Bangalore branch showed me 400 members have registered. Now by the 400 people for auditing standards, I was wondering. My session was the last session, to my misfortune. Last session there were 10 people. Because the topic is like that, and everybody knows this. We cannot do this on a day in and day out basis because the subject itself is like that. It's your audit, it's your client, you know what has happened. I can tell you documentation. I can tell you full day documentation, but documentation has to be done by you. It is you who have to build up the documentation. So that's why I'm saying that try to make this a little bit more detailed. Many a time what happens, I feel that even reports like Caro, they are also become checklist based, and the moment they are checklist based, we try to generally sort of tick the checklist and close it out. I'll give you one example before we can take questions. Impairment. Whose responsibility is impairment? Huh? Management. Will they do impairment every year? Not impairment loss, impairment testing only I'm saying. They will not, because for them to postpone impairment to the maximum extent possible is what they want. But for us, we are bound by Ind AS and AS. Test for impairment annually or quarterly. Take your Caro. What is the first question in Caro? Okay, before that, let me ask this question. Who fills up the Caro checklist? Article law. Correct? No doubt about it. Ellame article lagta. Adu for 2 years vara pantang adu vera kashta. And Institute Code of Ethics says human resources. Anyway, article goes for audit. Caro checklist. What is the first question? Does the company have fixed assets registered? Enna keppanga? Sir, FIR ka? You will open his laptop and show one complex Excel sheet with multiple colors. Okay. She will say, she will not look very, okay, fine, something is there. At least something is there. She'll think, okay, FIR is there. Have the assets physically been verified by management during the year? Next question. Again, you will show one document and say that this is my FIR report, physical verification report. Only one laptop is missing, that laptop is with you, the auditor. So my FIR also, physical verification also is perfect. Title is the name of company, that list is already there. So effectively by these 4 questions, the Caro checklist has been answered for fixed assets or PPE as they call it nowadays. The 5th question there should be, has the company tested assets for impairment? The 5th question in the Caro checklist should be, has the company tested assets for impairment? It is not there. Because it is not there, it will never be asked. Because it's not asked, it will never be answered also. Obviously, it will never be answered also. So this entire impairment thing will go away just because we don't have one questionnaire in that checklist. So we may have to also tune our checklist. It may come in AS checklist, I'm not saying no. It may come in AS checklist, I'm not saying no. But still that question has to be asked, and the question has to be answered. Unless that is answered, it may become very, very difficult. Okay. I've already told you about this, but this came about very, very recently. I thought I should tell you all this. This is a recent NFRA order. I'll put the situation in front of you all. There was a fixed deposit in the bank. The fixed deposit was pre-closed without the CFO knowing about it, or without at least the main people in the company knowing about it. The proceeds from that fixed deposit, which was pre-closed, went to various payment of subsidiary company loans in the same bank. The subsidiary companies had taken loans from the same bank. It had gone to all the subsidiary companies, and after some time, the subsidiary companies gave back this money to the holding company. Basically, the funds was through a loan, went to subsidiary company and came back to the holding company. If you look at the circle of transaction, this is Z Entertainment Limited, which came out 2 days back from NFRA. You look at this transaction, very simple manner. FD has come back to the company only in terms of the circular trade. Then I would say, okay, whatever it is, you can forget about it's a fraud, whatever you can say. You are the auditor. What will you do? What is the maximum you can do? I will not tell you what they have done. But what is the maximum you can do? Somebody has told you about this. What this auditor did was, he came to know about subsequently and gave a qualified report. He said that this fixed deposit, as we are not very sure about what the utilization of this fixed deposit is, he has qualified his report, saying that this is what has happened. He did not give anything about circular trading and all those things. He just said fixed deposit has been pre-closed and
Place for purposes we do not know.
Very good, sir. Perfect. Came before NFRA. Audit FD report, qualify audit report. And this is where I think NFRA is, they're trying, as I said, this is what they have to sort of look at. They said that qualified audit report, not sufficient. So report 142 to central government. Why are not reported to central government? That's the first mistake you made. Second, and I think this is where, again, I'm re-emphasizing this question of documentation. Apparently what happened between Z and the company and the bank, this is actually S Bank, I think. One of the promoters of Z has told the bank, close the FD, he has closed the FD. Finance department did not know about it. Finance department knew about this later on. They wrote to the bank saying that, how can you close an FD without my permission? Bank replied saying that, I'm very surprised you asked me this question because your FD, your person only told me to close it. All this has happened. What about you calling NH? NFRA told the auditor that letter from bank is not there on your records. So the letter from the auditor is not, you have qualified the report, I don't say no. You are not reported to central government, that's a problem. But when the company wrote the email to S Bank and S Bank responded, that document is not there in your records. We are again going on forensic only here. We are again going on forensic. Auditor has, he need not keep this in his, I do not know whether he has to keep it or not. Now I am wondering whether he has to keep it or not. Which means that you will have to look at all correspondence with the bank. Imagine how much of time this is going to take. Impossible also, if you ask me. Impossible also. Not going to get, see, I am giving you specific instances. Tomorrow morning, how do you know in your client what is going to happen? You do not know. So what they have said is that you should have kept that letter from the bank. Documentation. Now my question is going to be different. Okay, I took the letter from the bank. What can I do? I can keep the letter from the bank. It's on my audit file. Okay, it's documentation, no problem. The maximum I can do is qualify my report, which I have done. It's already done. This is the max I can do. Okay, maybe disclaimer of opinion, I do not know whether it's material for disclaimer of opinion or whatever, but anyway, somewhere it is there in the report. I think what is happening here is that even though it was not discovered by the auditors, it was subsequently, the auditors came to know about it and they took this action of qualifying the audit report. They wanted to give some sort of a, penal order on the auditors, so they said this and told them that we should have probably documented this particular thing. But to a large extent, what is going to happen here is that, again, I am not, the intention here is not. It's very difficult to say.
A lot of people are saying all there are copies of all those journals and keeping them file.
Sir, as I told you, no, sir, there are two things. One is, if you know the transaction, you will take it. Correct? I'm sure that every one single person in this room, if you knew that 200 crores FD has been pre-closed without permission of the finance department, the correspondence will be there in the file. I'm sure of it. I'm 100% sure of it. I don't think The problem was I did not know it at that point of time. What do I do for that? And the time I didn't tell you that. But subsequently when I came to know, I qualified my report. But again, as I said, the problem is always going to be that this circular routing of funds, all of these things. But as I said, my intention here is not to scare all of you all. Don't worry about it, because NFRA is also looking at cases where only reporting of frauds has happened. So I don't want to scare all of you and saying that NFRA is going to come to your office and look at your audit and all those things. That's definitely not the intention. But then I think I'm going to end with this one example, which again should not be a representative example, but still. NFRA had called for an international conference last year in Delhi. And all of us were speaking on various topics there. I met a person there from SEBI Inspection Department, Chartered Accountant. SEBI's Inspection Department. Is there the Inspection Department of SEBI has got about 30 or 40 chartered accountants working for them. And he was just generally talking to me and saying that he also said that unfortunate, sir, that only for the mistakes of a few people, everybody is being sort of targeted at this particular market. 100% true what you're saying. So he was giving me this very nice example. Not a nice example, but still an example. He was saying that there was one company which SEBI was investigating for this, just like this circular routing of funds. They got some market information. And normally what SEBI does is they call the company management first. If required, they call the auditor. If required, if there's something which requires auditor's attention, they call the auditor. And this company was based in Jaipur or Bhopal or somewhere, Jaipur somewhere. In this case, SEBI said that we'll do the reverse. We'll call the auditor first. We'll get his views whether he knows something about the circular trading or something. And then we'll call the company. They seemed to be a good idea. They called the auditor, who was some local firm based in Jaipur, and told him that we've got investigation, we're doing this investigation, we've got some information about this routing of funds. Do you have any idea? Auditor said, no sir, I'm only doing visible assurance. I don't have any idea about these things. Is there anything wrong in all those things? He spoke in a very professional manner, saying that I just did my job, I just gave my audit report. Nothing untoward has come to my notice, so I don't know. If something is there, maybe not in the scope of my audit at all. This is what he said. So they took down his statement and they also asked him how many audit committee meetings were there. He said 4 meetings, sir, in the last year. Then they asked him, did you attend all those meetings? Yes, I attended all the meetings. How did you go for those meetings? I came from Jaipur by car, sir, whatever it is. Everything was recorded, everything was written down. Auditor said, okay, fine, you've done your job. SEBI said, go away. They sent the auditor, call the company. Call the company CEO, CFO, told them that. Did not tell him that they already met the auditor. They told that we're investigating you for the circular trading of funds. We've got some information about this. What do you think about this? The first response of the CEO was, which date, sir? So he sort of spilled the cat out of the bag. But what was most surprising was, SEBI is asking the company CEO and CFO, was this not discussed in your audit committee? You had 4 meetings in the last year. The CFO said, who told you this? The auditors told me this. Sir, only last week only wrote the minutes, sir. No meeting was held, sir. There was no meeting held at all. He has just said that the meeting was held, it was just minutes which are made up there. So the point which this man was trying to make, the SEBI Inspection Department was trying to make, was that this one person, when he appeared before SEBI at least, when he came before SEBI, he would have said that there was no meeting held. But I do not know for what reason he went and said that there were 4 meetings held. Now what SEBI did, they sent a notice to him, sent a notice to the company also. And of course, then ultimately they came out to say that circular trading of funds, they not mentioned audit report, all those things I mentioned. So, I mean, why this is important? That's why I said, no, everybody is looking at us with this, what you can say, slightly prejudiced, saying that we are not seeing, not observing, not doing these things. I think that is where the problem comes. Okay. So this particular case is what SEBI said. This is the question I wanted to ask you all. Disclaimer of opinion or qualified audit report, EOM, going concern, 143 84. They want to report. Please remember, as per NFRA circular, if the auditor has got reason to believe that there is a fraud, fraud did not happen. If there is a reason to believe that there is a fraud, report to central government. Of course, you have to go to the audit committee first and then go to central government, but still I'm just saying that. So, one good way to increase the audit fees would be that use 143.12 and say that reason to believe, increase my audit fees at least. Will not work in that particular case, but this is what is happening. So what they are saying is that if you believe that there's a fraud has happened, resigning is not an option. Report it. Doesn't matter even if you have not discovered the fraud, you have to report it. Use 143 and report. That's what the SEBI is NFRA is trying to say. Okay, so thank you very much for a very patient hearing. Few questions. Always happy to answer those questions. Otherwise, thank you very much. Thank you.